To start a business, you really need money.
Yeah.
So I was looking for something I could afford. Whatever I could afford was kind of run down, and whatever I liked, I could not afford. So, and I always went to that one place called Austrian Village, because there are a lot of European people went there, and there was that one baker who had a bakery, but he got so ill, he couldn't handle it anymore, so he wanted to sell his place, and he sold it for pretty cheap. And I said, well, I can afford that. I bought the place, I closed it down for a whole month, cleaned it up, and started from scratch. Actually, not from scratch, because there was business there. Only the place itself was not quite as clean as it was supposed to be. So.
So, like, when did you, like, because it seems like you were operating a lot, like, business-wise. When did you move from that to teaching?
I had the business for 25 years,
Mhm.
and then in 2005, we decided to retire.
Mhm.
And we always came here to Colorado because 10 years previously to that, so that would be 1995, we came to Colorado for the first time to ski. And we went to a town called Crested Butte on the western slope.
Okay.
And we loved it. It really reminded me of Austria, the mountains and all that.
Yeah.
And at that time, I just had sold my first original house I ever had, and had some cash to invest.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, to invest in a beautiful place like that, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was quite affordable. I paid only about $100,000 for 35 acres
Yeah.
of ground. So I just invested in the ground. And we were still living in Philadelphia then, and every time at Christmas time and in summer, we always closed up for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we always came here to Crested Butte, because it's beautiful in summer, it's beautiful in winter to ski. But we always rented.
Yeah.
And then we decided, well, why don't we, since we have that big property, why don't we build a small house on it?
Yeah.
Like a caretaker unit to start with, just 1 bedroom, 1 grand room with 2-car garage and kitchen and living room, just enough, for 2 people.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple guests. And so that's what we did. We started building a house, and we're 9,500 feet above sea level. I mean, way up there. We overlook the whole valley. Beautiful place. And we thought when we retire, we're going to build the main house under that property. And, so when we retired, we came here, and we found out that living in Crested Butte, which is beautiful but very remote, our kids wouldn't come because it's too far. We have kids in North Carolina, we have kids here, and it's like 5 hours coming and 5 hours going. So we decided we're going to keep the house, but we're going to live in near Denver. So we bought a house in Broomfield, and I was happy for a half a year doing nothing, just building the garden around the house and all that. But then I got antsy. I wanted to do something. So forget about retirement. I was looking for something to do. So there was a caterer. They were looking for a pastry chef. So I started working for that caterer, and I made all the pastries and the specialty cakes, wedding cakes, because they always jobbed the wedding cakes out to some other pastry places when they had a wedding. So I was the guy who made the wedding cakes there.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're looking for somebody at the convention center.
Yeah.
Center Plate, that's the catering outfit in the convention center.
Yeah.
So I started working at the convention center, making their specialty cakes and working on making thousands of plated desserts and whatever they did in the convention center. That was a new experience for me because I've never done plated desserts.
Mhm.
I had a bakery pastry shop.
Yeah.
Plated desserts are done in restaurants or hotels and places like that.
Mhm.
You know, pastry shops. You put the dessert on a plate and that's it, but not really fancy plated desserts. So anyway, I did that until there was an opening, because I always wanted to teach.
Yeah.
Because I taught for a while in Philadelphia at the
Yeah.
Art Institute, as a matter of fact, for
Oh.
2 years as a part-time adjunct on
Mm.
Saturdays. I taught Saturday classes, like they have Saturday classes here also,
Mm.
continued education classes. So when there was an opening here at Johnson and Wales, I started here as an adjunct.
Mhm.
But then eventually there was an opening for full-time, and the dean asked me, "You want to have the full-time job?" I said, "Absolutely."
Mhm.
He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Absolutely." And so I started 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and well, I'm here ever since, and still going strong, still liking it. No complaints whatsoever. You know, some people complain here and there. I don't have no complaints. So I'm happy what I'm doing, and I like what I'm doing. And everybody's asking me, when are you going to retire? I said, well, when the Rolling Stones start touring, maybe. Yeah, so as long as I enjoy it, and you know, once you are retired, how much fishing can you do? How much hiking and biking and can you do? How much gardening can you do? I want to come here once in a while. And maybe I do one more year. My wife always says, you know, why don't you do one more year? If you like it, get out of my hair. Yeah.
I find that, because being in your class and like the couple days I was, is very interesting, because like it's so quiet and kind of peaceful, but like I sort of have, in like watching labs go about, like culinary and like baking and pastry is kind of like watching ballet, but I think at least in the process of like baking and pastry, it's a little bit more like ice skating, I guess. Like there's a lot more gracefulness, but then it's very like consistent, precise movements.
That's what it is. It has
Yeah.
to be. And there again, not everybody is made for that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people, they like bread,
Mm.
a lot more bread and rolls and that kind of thing, because you do not have to be as precise, as consistent quite as when you make petit fours,
Mm.
where every piece is supposed to look the same.
What exactly are petit fours?
Petit fours,
Yeah.
well, there's different kind of petit fours. Petit four glace is the one where you make little pieces of cake, which sometimes are filled and then they're dipped in a glaze. They're real shiny, and
Yeah.
then they're decorated either with a filigree or little flowers, and
Yeah.
then they're little petit four cup in a paper cup.
Yeah.
But then anything that's bite size in baking and pastry,
Mm.
bite size 1 inch,
Yeah.
but 2 bites can be considered a petit four.
Yeah.
And so you can have truffles, you can have chocolate dipped strawberries, you can
Mm.
have assorted cookies, and they all can be considered petit four. So they're called petit four varies because they're a variety of small little items.
Mm.
Even if you take miniature cinnamon buns
Mm.
and miniature cake slices and put them in a little cup,
Okay.
it can be considered a petit four.
Okay.
which is actually translated little oven.
Oh, okay.
And that's a whole other story why it became, why that name was used for those little things.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you're talking more like the certain type, like, what would you say it takes to like make cakes and like that sort of process and mindset that like goes into it?
To make cakes?
Yeah, like sort
Well,
of.
you have to really, to like cakes, you have to really like to make cakes. First of all, you have to be good in it, because if you're not good in it, you won't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a product that eventually looks good.
Mhm.
So you have to have definitely an artistic
Like mindset?
mindset, for sure.
Yeah.
It helps a lot if you visually, you can visualize things,
Mhm.
if you have a concept for color combinations,
Yeah.
if you have a good in modeling things,
Uh-huh.
if you can draw,
Yeah.
all that, you know, because a lot of culinary people say, I couldn't do that, and I make this little flowers, and it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know, that's what it takes to be a pastry chef, to make
Yeah.
those real fine little spirals out of sugar or chocolate and put them on a cake or on little things.
Mhm.
So it's a total different things than culinary. Even so, culinary, when it comes to plating things sometimes,
Yeah.
when it comes to charcuterie, for instance, you know,
Mhm.
where they make little tiny bite-sized things,
Yeah.
appetizers, they can be very pretty, and they all should look the same, almost like making petit fours.
Mm.
When you have a platter, all the things have to look the same, and they're set up right, the little hors d'oeuvres.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's something in common. And also when it comes to baking and pastry, you use a lot of culinary techniques also.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, so there's a little,
Yeah, it's sort of like a different approach to the process.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So listen, I have to go to my meeting.
Okay, I got you.
Is it okay?
Huh, yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think I
because
got
it's
enough stuff to work with.
12:15.
I'll probably go by the edible book contest, get a little bit more footage, but it was.
Yeah, you should.
It was nice talking to you.
It's tomorrow, okay? Take
Thank you.
care. What was your name is?
Jalen. Jalen.